What's up, guys? Welcome to week three's linear focus. We've got a lot of stuff to hit. So quickly, here's all we'll need. We've got our 2 yoga blocks, 1 tennis ball. You're going to need something to balance with, guys. It'll be out of a half kneeling position. I'm actually going to use my parallettes, but something. So if you've got an extra set of yoga blocks or if you've got like dowels, but make sure you've got something handy to use for your balance. Today we've got a lot to get to. I want to make sure to hit a lot of weak points that people have been highlighting in the needs analysis. So we're going to really attack the thoracic spine today. We're going to get a good bit of hamstring work in, more hip flexion. We're going to attack our squat. Good bit of shoulder work here in the beginning, but not too much upper limb today, really lower limb focused. So let's get started, guys. So tall kneeling position to start out. If it bothers your knees, seated, it's fine. But come into an abducted position. So right here, and I actually want to try scapula cars in this position, guys. So it's a little bit funky if you've never worked them before. But here, guys, we're going to elevate the scaps, squeezing up to the ears. We're going to protract, reaching forward. Depress, squeezing down. And retract, pinching together. So nice and slow, elevate, protract, depress, and retract. We're gonna get 4 each direction. Try to think about the hands themselves drawing the circle here. So it's a very small movement. If you need to regress, you find it too challenging, no control here, try coming a little more in front. Right, continue, get that 4th rep. And then reverse. So for depression, retract back, elevate up, protract, spread, depress down. Nice and slow. Guys, as your scapular cars get a little more cleaned up in your normal car positions, start challenging them. A lot harder in this abducted position. You can also try working them up overhead, which makes it a lot harder still. Okay, moving on, we're gonna get our shoulder axial. So squeeze your fists, slight retraction like you just worked on. Now internally rotate, trying to spin knuckles forward, showing palms back. Make sure the biceps are turning down. Try not to let go of those scapula. Externally rotate, opposite direction. Turning the thumbs back, pinkies forward, squeeze those triceps. Exhale as you internally rotate. Max out that position, big breath in. Exhale during the rotation. Inhale before. Last one coming up. Now, guys, lock yourself in this position, open those palms, and we're going to try some elbow cars from here. So flex the elbows. Now pronate, show the palms, gets a little funky. Extend, flex from pronation, then supinate, and extend. Get some interesting lines of tension. We'll just get 3 of each. Supinate into flexion, pronate into extension, and reverse it. Guys, if you're still struggling to lock your elbow during shoulder cars, great variation to work on right here. All right, back in the position, thumbs facing up to the sky, wrist cars, guys, knuckles down, back, up, and in. Don't let those elbows bend. Nothing moving except your wrists. Just 3 reps, guys. Nice and slow. Again, feel free to lower the hands a little if this is too intense. They need tingling in the hands. Getting through our 3rd and final rep. Very nice, guys. So that's our upper limb warm up. Some nice variations, a little bit different, fun twists to throw in there. For our hips today, guys, come down to a side frame. Knees are stacked a little bit lower than hips, driving through the elbow. Good position with the rib cage, chest is squared forward. Just waking this up, guys, so not too high tension. Hand can be here for some balance. Flex the top hip, abduct and open the hip. Internally rotate, extend, and pull through. Small reps here, guys. We'll get 3 each direction. Flexion, abduction. Really emphasize disassociation here, guys. I don't care how far it is. Chest stays squared forward, bottom knee on the ground. No change in spine position. Extending into our third. Now freeze there, let's reverse. So heel drops, knee drives, externally rotate, abduct the armpit, and flex through. Extend, externally rotate, driving up, and pulling through. Last one, and we'll flip sides. Really love this hip car variation, guys. Great one to work on to aid disassociation, to make sure we're being honest with our hip car. So same idea, square that chest, tension through the bottom elbow, flex the hip, driving out, internally rotate, extend. Away through each direction. Use your breathing, use your tension. Make sure, again, the reps are smooth. Don't worry about fighting for that last inch as much as smoothly moving through those transitions. Extension of the third rep, freeze. Externally rotate, heel drops, knee drives, driving for the armpit, pulling through to the belly. Exaggerate the breathing, guys. Good time to check in with the ankles. Make sure you're squeezing those ankles into dorsiflexion. Okay, coming to our quadruped position, guys. Gonna start in a low kneel. If you can't be here without pain, guys, go ahead, sit a yoga block, a pillow, prop under the low ankle, the shin if you need to. But I wanna get some T-spine cat-cows. Typically we've done them from here, guys. Today, what I wanna try, walk your hands a bit more forward. You can bring the knees a bit wider. Really exaggerate trying to start in a bit of thoracic extension. So really lift the sternum here, guys. And let's get our T-spine cat-cows in this position. So starting at the sternum, I'm gonna get concave, trying to round the upper back, reaching sternum to the sky, concave in my collarbones, and scraping chin to chest. Let's lead with the neck today, guys. So extend the cervical spine, try and follow up the collarbones, high thoracic spine extending, mid T-spine, peeling sternum, showing chest to the ceiling, and reverse, flexing, starting with the low thoracic spine, showing every thoracic vertebrae to the ceiling, all the way to the base of the neck, and chin drops down. Lead with the neck, don't crank the neck, peeling the collarbones, the chest, the sternum. Now guys, I want you to freeze here. Just give me 2 nice breaths into extension. Now, let's get one more, but this time, we're really gonna think about irradiating tension through our hands. So as we round into cat, this time, guys, drive your hands forward into the floor and get some good tension. Press those hands forward, feel that upper back, and slowly, guys, I want a 15-second rep. Match my tempo, rounding that thoracic spine, but maintaining effort, pressing your hands forward. Now, guys, reverse, drag the hands towards you. Start peeling the cervical spine of the neck. The collarbones, maintain effort through your hands as you max out extension. Very nice. So right from there, guys, we're gonna come down to Sphinx. So in a prone position, guys, thumbs in line with chin, elbows squeezed tight. Posteriorly tuck the pelvis, tension through your quads and glutes. I want you to peel the thoracic spine to the sky, we just worked on. Try and show the sternum, the chest, the collarbones up. Max out extension and then make sure your pelvis is tucked. From here, guys, lower down enough such that you can lift your hands and hold there for a 3 count. 2, 1. Thoracic extension, passive range holds, guys. Find the maximum passive stretch. Start getting lighter on your hands and lower until you can lift the forearms and hold. This is showing you the difference in your passive flexibility in your T-spine and your active mobility. So back up enough, you can lift and hold. You should feel that mid-back starting to really work. Last rep here. Very nice. From there, guys, jumping right into scapula work. So been getting some questions about scap work and the needs analysis, guys, actually the last couple weeks. To me, thoracic extension, thoracic flexion, controlled T-spine movement is what allows the scapula to move well. So when you do these drills, the scaps feel stuck, they feel clunky, they're not moving well. More T-spine work, okay? So first one, let's just start quadruped. Just want you to pinch the shoulder blades together, elevate to the ears, press the floor away, squeeze your shoulders for your hips. Let's get 2. So depression of the scapula, retraction, pinch, elevate, up, protract, press. Now reverse it. From protraction, elevate, up, retract, back, depress, down, protract, press. One more time, elevate, up, retract, and depress. Now guys, if that's hard, I want you to stay there, or if you need to, you can even regress and work from here. But we're gonna get about 10 total reps. We just did 2 in each direction. What I want you to do, if that's not hard, guys, I want you to walk your hands a little bit forward. Let's get 2 reps. Here. Protract, elevate, retract, depress. Repeat, we're gonna get 3 of these. Protract, squeeze up, pinch back, squeeze down. Where's your neck? Where's your T-spine? Maintain your tension. Reverse direction now, guys. From depression, retract, elevate, protract, and depress. Using the breathing, squeeze the shoulders to the hips, pinch them back, pull them up, press them forward. So that brings us to 5 total reps. Further progression, again, you can stay regressed here as necessary, would be this upward dog or this cobra type position. Okay, so if this bothers your low back, obviously please don't push into it. I like to externally rotate the hands a little bit here. Protract, press down, elevate, squeeze up, retract, not too far, depress. My favorite position to work on scapular depression by far. Protract, elevate, retract, depress, protract, elevate, retract, depress, reverse it, retract back, elevate, up, protract, press. One more time, guys. It should get tough. Should feel that upper back really working here. Okay. 8 total reps in each direction. For our last 2, very low tension, just like our morning cars. Okay, close the fists. Nice and proud chest. I'm gonna do both shoulders. Protract, reach forward. Low tension to tie it in. Should feel nice and controlled right now. Depression, protraction, elevation, retraction, depression. Reverse it for our last 2. Pinching back, squeezing up, reaching forward, pulling down. So again, guys, love these drills. There's a million ways to make them harder. To me, this is morning cars. Next, a little bit tougher still. And then you can come down to Cobra. And then after that, guys, hanging scapular work is my favorite. Okay, so for those of you having concerns with scap, give that a try. Drop me some feedback. Let's talk about it. Tough to get too detailed on scapular work here, especially without something to hang on. But I love all those variations. Cool. So lumbar spine is next, guys. Back to quadruped, and now walk down to the elbows. Globally flex that thoracic spine, just like we just worked on. I'm not going to be too loud because the mic is right by my face, but max out T-spine flexion. Really gentle here. Extend the lumbar and flex the lumbar. Take your time, guys. Just give me 4. Get some motion in that low back because we've got hip extension work next. I want that low back moving nicely through extension and flexion. Okay, guys, so next you're gonna need a yoga block. Now, hip extension, guys, is something that when I assess someone in person, most times hip extension is one of the worst findings they'll get, okay? A lot of hip rotation tends to be involved, hip internal rotation, hip external rotation, we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. As that capsular rotation improves, hip extension is typically kind of that next big focus. For those of you asking me for hamstrings, okay? We are going to attack hamstrings today, but I'll tell you now, hip extension should be prioritized probably first. We want the glute to be the primary hip extensor. If the hamstrings are always getting beat up, most times glute's not functioning well in hip extension, and the hamstrings are making up for it. Having said that, we will attack hamstrings today, but just keep your eyes out because a lot more hip extension coming. This is my favorite drill to work hip extension. It is darn hard, okay? Now, the regression I'm just going to show you first. It's just from quadruped, and you're just going to work on this motion. Just an active lift off of the hip. If it's easy, very obviously, you can elevate the foot slightly. The big thing on these guys is it's really easy to cheat with your back, okay? So you want to actually exaggerate a slight posterior pelvic tuck. You're not rounding, but you're trying to tuck the lumbar spine and pelvis very slightly. Then you're trying to squeeze butt and pull up, all right? So if you currently have a lower back thing going on, or you try this next one, it's just not going to happen. That's your option. We're getting 4 slow liftoffs with the holds. For the rest of us, if you want to go for it, start on your toe, okay? I wasn't quadruped, I stepped back. I rocked my way back. I'm now going to put that yoga block right under, and I'm going to come on down, okay? From here, guys, couple options for the hands. You can stay here. I actually like to go wide. So I've got a yoga, you can't really see it. I've got a yoga block in between my glute and my heel. I'm sitting right on it so I can stay low. And squeeze that trail thigh, lift off, and I'm gonna hold. 3, 2, 1, and sit down soft. Okay, for me, that's a big glute work. My core is really working hard to make sure I don't jump into extension. So posterior pelvic tuck, squeeze the glute, lift and hold. Land soft. We get 2 more. If you want some spice here, guys, try this. Tuck the pelvis, big breath in and out. Pull up, hold, hinge your ankle, squeeze it back. Do that twice. Oh yeah, that'll get some interesting lines of tension. For those of you who want to make this a little harder, if you plantar flex this ankle instead of being on your toes, you're now even closer to the floor. Okay, you can try and work from there. The more you can press on down, guys, the harder it's going to get. Oh yeah, cramped on that one. Okay, guys, switching sides. So collapsed quadruped hip extension. As we said before, regression, you can elevate the foot, make sure it's not all coming from the lumbar spine. Try and exaggerate some posterior pelvic tuck. Okay, not too much where it's all lumbar. If you want it to be tougher, yoga block right there, sit right back. Hands can come nice and wide, hands can be forward, however you like. Engage the glute, big breath in and out. Tuck the pelvis, lift that foot and hold. Nice soft. Too easy, you can add those ankle hinges for 2. Too easy still, plantar flex. Get lower down, compress that angle. And that is hard. One more, guys. Find the one that had you working in a good range. That last one's probably a little too much for me. And land soft. Okay, guys. So done in quadruped for now. As I said in the beginning, and as I just mentioned, lots of hamstring work today. We're going to go for, right now, guys, kind of my favorite hamstring mobility superset. Okay, I just find it's really effective. Half kneeling, knee extension, tails and rails. So this is working on knee extension. So tails there is your hamstring. Rails is actually going to be hip flexion. I'll show you in a moment. With it, guys, we're actually going to do trail leg ankle hinges, kind of what you just tried with a tennis ball. So I'll show you. Doesn't look like that much. It is. So half kneeling position. Prop one foot up on the yoga blocks. Now, whatever you've got for balance, guys, is literally just for this. The biggest thing here, guys, is you need to be able to find an anterior pelvic tilt. So try and tilt the pelvis, find the very slightest lumbar extension. Try and create a slight lordotic curve, and now pull your belly button forward. Don't fold over, but pull forward. You should immediately find a hamstring stretch. Notice my knees bent, okay? Unless your guys are working on like over splits or very, very aggressive positions, I would not lock the knee. Little bend in the knee, full around foot position, anterior pelvic tilt. Give me some big breaths in and out. Big breath in, fight the rib cage. Big breath out, pull a little bit deeper into the stretch. Begin building up tension through the bottom leg, squeeze the butt, squeeze the core, tension through your arms. Your Pale's effort, guys, is going to be pressing your heel down into the yoga blocks. Radiate tension through both legs. Start your Pale's pressing down through that lead heel. Build up that tension, 10% ramping to 20, 20% ramping to 30. Maintain lumbar position to 40 to 50. Hold right there. 5, 4, 3, 2. Rails effort. Think of trying to lift the foot as you further anteriorly pelvic tilt and you exaggerate that lumbar curve, pulling deeper into the stretch. 2, 1, relax into it. So for those of you who want to progress this, you can feel free to stay there. You can also regress, guys, standing, same position, same exact thing. Exaggerate the lordotic curve, a little bit easier there. But if you want to progress and you can sit back on this one leg, for me, this is a great way to work on hamstring pelvis and rails if you can get here. So I'm seated on one heel. I find that anterior pelvic tilt, and I've got some bend in my knee. Pales, I drive down. Crushing heel into the yoga block. Ramping intensities while trying to maintain anterior pelvic tilt as best I can. It's all right if it's not there. 5, 4, 3, 2. Try and lift the foot while pulling the belly button forward. And relax into position. Okay, guys, so hamstring pails and rails, that's how I like to do it. It's a great way to get that muscle belly to the hamstring working. One of my favorite sayings about the hamstrings, guys, usually they're not tight, usually they're weak. So strengthen yourself in your flexible position, that long hamstring position with pails and rails, and then superset it with these ankle hinges. So this is gonna work on the hamstring in that short position that we worked on in our second class, those couch stretch liftoffs. Those were mean, I'm sorry, but a nicer way, or they can be worse, depending on how you do them, are these. So ball is going behind the knee, whatever you need for balance, okay? Ball behind the knee, nice proud chest, lengthen that spine. Squeeze that ball, guys, think 30% tension. Now hinge your ankle, and just give me 3 reps. But here, that engagement of the hamstring, you're teaching your knee to function in this short range position. And as you hinge that ankle, the knee's got to adapt to it. So if you want to progress, all you need to do is slide the ball up slightly higher, ask more of your knee flexors. Again, guys, knee flexion will get crampy. Another option, probably wouldn't have the ball up so high, go right behind the knee for these. You can also just work ankle cars here. So squeeze that ball along spine and just get some slow ankle rotations in this knee flexion position, okay? Great option to work on. I love to throw it in right after hamstring pails and rails to make sure not only am I building strength in that long range position, I can also control that short range position. So let's flip around, get the pails and rails to the other side. So quickly, guys, notice what we paired these with. We did lumbar cat-cows, we did hip extension liftoff, so we got our low back and our glute kind of groove together, and then we built these, okay? Guys, you know the heel is too high if you can't find your lumbar curve, if you can't find that anterior pelvic tilt. If you can't get here, regress the height, okay? So to find the stretch, knees a little bent, I peel my belly button forward, I exaggerate tilting tailbone to the ceiling. Immediately big stretch in the hamstring muscle belly. Breaths in and out. Again, you can do this standing, same exact setup. Make sure you're a little bit more upright if you're standing. We're radiating tension through both glutes, trail glute, lead quad, tension through the arms. Pails effort, start pressing down through that heel, ramping intensity from 10 to 20%, 20 to 30, 30 to 40 to 50, stay there, 5, 4, 3, 2, rails effort, trying to pull the foot up as I get further into lumbar extension, trying to pull deeper into the stretch, 3, 2, 1, relax there. So for the second round, as we did before, feel free to stay here and just hit it again. But if you'd like to try it, and you can sit here without pain. Another option, guys, you can prop that heel up and you can go from there. Gets a little funky looking, but this will do the trick. The idea is getting closer to the floor. I'm now deeper into straight leg hip flexion, so I can get more from that anterior hip when I do my rails effort, okay? So find your anterior pelvic tilt, find your hamstring stretch, big breath in and out. Make sure the knees slightly bent, guys. Pails efforts are driving down. I don't like to go too high intensity on pails and rails for the hamstring, guys, at least at first. So here we'll ramp up to 50% and stay there. 5, 4, 3, 2, rails effort. You're trying to lift the foot while pulling the lumbar spine deeper into extension. And relax into position. As we did, guys, back into our half kneel with the tennis ball behind the knee. To progress again, you're just bringing that ball up higher. Find that anterior pelvic tilt, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core. Tension on the ball, about 30%. Hinge that ankle. Try to maintain hamstring effort throughout, guys. If you'd like to progress, bring that ball up a little higher. I'm sorry, I said anterior pelvic tilt a moment ago. Here, again, posterior pelvic tuck. Don't rely on that spine. We actually want tension through the rib cage. Anterior pelvic tilt when we do the hamstring stretch for tails and rails. Posterior pelvic tilt when we do these. Apologies. Tension on the ball, guys. 3 reps. Again, instead, you can try a couple ankle cars. Also love those. Progression, ball goes up higher. Regression, you need a bigger ball. The yoga block also does the trick there. Okay, guys. So, again, you guys asked for hamstring. To me, that's where we're at, okay? If the hamstrings are limiting you, first check in with your hips. How's the internal rotation? How's the external rotation? They're pretty good. How is that hip extension lift off? Okay. If that was pretty good, then feel free, just go after these hamstring tails and rails, guys. You'll see a lot of those things are going to come together quickly. But if you don't have decent hip IR and hip ER, decent meaning good enough. It's pretty good. There's no pain. There's no compensation. There's some clean range of motion. It doesn't have to be the most in the world. Then hip extension. If there's no hip extension, don't waste your time with these yet. Obviously do them in class, but on your own, challenge hip extension first. Cool. Ran over, hamstring work over for now. Next challenges, guys. Let's throw these back. I can't throw off my feng shui. Next challenges, guys. Figure 4 position, guys, nice and tall. Actively reaching this knee down to the floor as close as you can get it. I'd like your hands in front if you can. If you need to regress, hands behind. Point the foot. We're going to do end range rotations of the hips. You're going to lift up, flex the hip. Try not to compensate with your spine. Little circles each direction. I want 3. Try and keep them as smooth as possible. Once you get 3, reverse directions. And lower slow. If that was too hard for you, regress. If your foot was able to get more than a few inches off the ground, as you just saw mine, 2 options. Either elevate the foot with the block or regress the ankle, which is what we'll do. So pull the belly button forward. Don't just round over. Belly forward, deeper into it. Lift off, little circles. Again, I can barely clear the floor. Shows I'm working in a good position. 3 reps each direction. So the rule of thumb, guys, 2 to 4 inches off the ground. That for me was probably pushing it a little bit too difficult. I'll back up slightly. Last round. Lift off, 3 little reps. Reverse it. And soft. Our next challenge, guys, is lean. I'm very sorry in advance. I want to see 2 good iso-MPs from figure 4 to half 90. Now, this is like one of the more challenging iso-MPs for this hip. We're going to have to compensate. That's okay. The compensation is just shifting your weight outside your straight leg. Hands can go as wide as necessary. Or if you need to, just slide this foot. Okay? So I'm going to start here. Starting in my figure 4 stretch, guys, I lift off. I flex, squeezing heel to butt. I pull my heel under my knee. I shift my weight away as much as necessary. And I try and hover the floor back into half 90. Setting down soft. Easy, huh? To get back might be harder. I have to do the lift off, pull under, and scrape through. Again, regression, guys, you were just sliding your foot. One more time. This time we stay in half 90. You can try without the hands if you want to go for it. Heel underneath. Pull back, hover, hover, hover as long as you can. You can lean the weight away. We set down soft. So half 90, as you guys saw, I believe last class, we started introducing those half 90 hovers. Now we're going to work on, guys, this lead leg, but the hamstring and hip flexor involvement that you just worked on. So all you need to do with the trail thigh is glue it to the floor. That's it. Squeeze down. Option 1, tiptoe. Option 2, hands up and out. Option 3, hands behind head. I'm going to go option 2. Okay? Kinetic stretching. As I fold forward, guys, I'm not rounding. I'm trying to pull my belly, my torso forward over my hip. I'm actively trying to lift my foot off the ground using the strength of my quad and my hip flexor. That counterbalances the lean forward. When I run out of position, my spine will round. We're at the ends. I shove heel down, pressing back tall. Constant tension to this trail hip. Okay? 4 reps, 5 seconds down, 3 seconds back. If there's tension behind the knee, guys, a little bend in the knee is fine. If you need to regress, you can slide forward a little bit, or you can do these in figure 4. Tension, trying to lift my foot off the ground, pulling my belly button forward, pulling my sternum forward, compressing down, maintaining effort. I start running out of position, I shove heel down, pressing back tall. Okay, if you need to tiptoe, guys, that's fine. Tiptoeing forward, I'm trying to pull my foot off the ground, pulling my belly button to my thigh. My spine starts rounding. Actively push yourself back with the foot. Right? You can also try crossing the hands. Pulling foot off, reaching belly forward, not just folding. Pull yourself deeper. 3, 2, 1. Shove back. Last rep, guys. 5, 4. Pull that foot up. Pull that belly forward. 3, 2, 1. Shove back. All right, guys, go ahead and slide your opposite leg through and straighten it. Slide the leg into figure 4. Wash and repeat the other side. Tougher than it looks, huh? So actively driving this hip towards the floor. Plantar flex ankle. Regression again, we walk back. Progression, come on down. Calm that spine, lift off. 3 little circles. Smooth reps, try and match my tempo. Once you get 3, reverse it. The regression here, guys, is definitely just a lift off. So if it's still too much, even with the hands walk back, lift up, hold, lower, slow. Okay? Too easy for me. I compress the angle a little bit. 3 little circles. These should be very crampy, guys. If your quads are yelling at you, I would say I'm sorry, but I'm not. Got to learn to breathe through those cramps. Unless they're too intense. If they're too intense, regress. Otherwise, work through that stuff, guys. Last one, go for it. 3 little reps. Control yourself, guys. A little. Smooth. Okay. Half 90 iso and P. So much fun, I know. Hands posted back to start. Short range lift off, heel pulls tight to the hip as you internally rotate, shift the weight away, set down as necessary. Coming back, maybe harder, lift off, pull under, squeeze through. Try not to just swing the hip around, guys. Control each phase of the movement. So going without the hands is fine, guys. If you have control there, notice how I kind of shift my weight away from the hip to make it doable. Last one will stay there. Again, hands is fine. If you need to just slide yourself into it, guys, again, that's fine. Kinetic stretching for that straight leg. Tiptoe option, hands up option, crossed hands option. Hardest would probably be hands behind the head, okay? Trying to actively pull up, compressing the floor, pulling the belly forward, not just folding. 4 reps, guys. As you start running out of spine position, the rep ends, drive that heel down, press back tall. Pulling foot to face, reach the belly forward, don't fold over. As you start to lose spine position, drive back. It's too much, guys, that's fine. Tiptoe, pull that foot to the face, try and pull that belly forward, don't round, max it out, shove back. Whichever one was best for you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and shove back. Quickly, guys, if you just hated me trying to do those, half 90 is really hard. I get asked this every membership. I get asked this any class I teach. The reason half 90 is so hard is it's 2 weak points together. Internal rotation, maybe abduction, the trail leg, we all suck at it. Straight leg hip flexion tends to be a weak point. Hamstring stuff, knee extension tends to be a weak point. You put them together, it gets hard. Okay? Break down the movements. All right? If you want hamstring flexibility and strength, tails and rails. If you want hip flexor strength and control, figure 4 end range rotations. Trail leg 90-90, guys, that's just our tails and rails. Cool? So all done here. Coming into combat stance next. Also been receiving a good bit of questions about ankles, and I think I've highlighted this before, but I'll touch on it again. Guys, ankles, and I'm a great example of this, ankles are really stubborn, okay? If you have limited ankle dorsiflexion, I have really bad dorsiflexion. Every time I show combat, I'm like, oh my God, my ankle does nothing here. You can work on it. It is really important to work on. For me, I know, although it's limited, any increase in range of motion I get takes so much pressure off my hips and knees, off my lower back. So if yours is limited, doesn't mean you shouldn't attack it. You need to. Any increase is going to help you exponentially. Having said that, we've got to be honest and realistic about our ankle goals. I'm never going to be able to do, the 44 kilo jumping pistol squat that a lot of people are going for these days. Some of it, look, I have an injury history. My ankles have been limited. We got to be honest with ourselves. So we will work on them, but we're not going to have crazy changes of range of motion with our ankles. Hips, maybe. Shoulders, maybe. Spine, maybe. Scapula, sure, but ankles, probably not. Very stubborn. Okay? With that, into the misery, right? So combat stance, guys. If you can't be here, try elevating your hip. If you still can't be here, half kneeling spine. Okay? Turn your torso towards that thigh. Notice I have my foot turned out. It mirrors my bottom squat position. So if your squat looks like this, maybe you're here. Mine does not. Mine looks more like this. Okay? Torso over that thigh. Find your end range of dorsiflexion. Shift your body weight into that ankle. You can use your arms here and get a little more weight. Big breath in and out. If you do not feel a stretch in your Achilles or calf stuff, guys, I want you to try swooping your hands under your heel. See if that helps. Okay? If neither helps, guys, what I want you to do instead is back out of it a little bit, and you can just do the strength component minus the flexibility component, minus the stretch. Okay? So one more breath. Tails and rails to the ankle. Your tails effort, you start plantar flexing, trying to press the forefoot down, trying to drive the ball of my foot through the floor. I immediately feel my whole Achilles and calf start working. Ramp that intensity, guys, up 10% to 20%, 20% to 30%, 30 to 40. Push harder. Drive that foot down, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2. Rails effort. Try and pull your toes off the floor while keeping your heel down as you maintain effort trying to pull your knee forward. Your shin musculature is trying to lift your toes up as you actively press deeper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax into position. Guys, if you have the hip flexibility, feel free to drop your chest on here. If you have a pinch in your hip doing this, guys, you can also try back here, and you can use your hands. Otherwise, half kneeling might be a bit simpler for you. One more round. Tails effort, driving that forefoot down, 10 seconds, ramping to 30%, to 40%, to 50, stay there. Rails effort, guys, try and pivot, heel down, toes up, drive knee forward, 5 seconds. Think shin, you're trying to squeeze all that tissue. 1, and relax. Quickly, guys, have a seat. Get this leg out of the way. And I just want 2 really slow ankle cars. As we do in our homework series, when we do tails and rails on weak points, always a good idea to follow it up with a couple cars. Upload that new motor control to the nervous system. You got to teach that brain how to use all the force it just felt. Okay, got to tie it in. Switching sides. Combat stance. Again, your legs should mirror your squat, in my opinion. My squat looks like this. On this side, hips a little more limited. I'll show you this variation. Using my hand, pressing myself into the stretch. I keep my torso away to limit the hip flexion requirement. I'm not running into closing angle pinching there. Same tails and rails, guys. Start driving forefoot down. First round, 20 seconds. Ramp that intensity 5 to 10%. 10 to 20. 20 to 30, 40, 50, stay there, 5, 4, 3, 2, rails effort, pivot, heel down, try and lift your toes while you drive your knee forward, think shin, 5, 4, 3, 2, relax into the stretch. One more round, guys. 10 seconds this time, tails effort, driving down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rails, try and pivot, heel down, lift the toes, drive the knee. Relax into the stretch. All right, guys, have a seat. 2 slow ankle cars. As promised, we're gonna do some work out of the squat next. For most of us, we've talked about this a little bit, ankle dorsiflexion tends to be a big limiting factor. You've already addressed some hamstrings and hip flexion, so I'm not gonna have us do any hip flexion tails and rails today. But guys, if those hips keep winking under when you squat, no matter what, that back's super round, combat stance is a great option for you to work hip flexion as well. We just did dorsiflexion tails and rails. In this position, I'm already in a great deal of hip flexion. Tails effort, I'd shove my heel down. Rails effort, I would try and lift knee to chest while again exaggerating lumbar curve. So we're not gonna do them today. Probably gonna see those in a homework later on in the membership. Hip flexion, tails, rails, and combat. But now that I've got you back in combat, I wanna do a couple iso MPs to a squat. Quickly, guys, if you currently have a knee issue that you're rehabbing or your ankles are very limited, don't do this. Okay, it's a lot of pressure on the knee if they're not prepared. If your tibia rotation is still a troublesome point for you, which a lot of people are still saying, skip this. Just come into your squat in a moment. If you can't be in a squat, a bodyweight squat, guys, come against the wall, hands on the wall, hands on your couch. You can do this seated on your yoga blocks if you need to. Please, please, please be in a position where you can be pain-free, right? For those of us who've got it, we're in combat, okay? The biggest thing here is I need to be to sit my weight into this hip and bring this foot into dorsiflexion, okay? That's a lot of tibia rotation that just happened. Now I have to pull myself into my squat. To get to the other side, I have to hinge the hip down. Again, look at that tibia external rotation, a lot of it. Now I have to planar flex. I sit my weight on my heel. I end up back in combat, okay? Just to show you again. Combat stance, shift your weight, external rotation of the tibia. Open the hip, squat. Other side, fold, and just do 2 each way. Tibia ER, hinge the ankle, combat stance. Last time, we'll stay in our squat. Sorry for those of you having so much fun on these. Shift the weight into the squat, externally rotate the tibia, dorsiflex the ankle, squeeze yourself up, and we are in our squat position. Take a moment. Find some tension, nice and tall on the spine. Give me 5 breaths, guys, in and out. Each breath in, build that air up into the armpits and get taller. Each breath out, sink into your hips. Just get comfy. All right, guys, kinetic stretching in the squat is one of my favorites. Nice and challenging. Lift the arms, drive your knees out, shove yourself up 2 inches. Hold there, drive your knees out, pull your butt down 2 inches. 4 reps. Knees out, up, knees out, down. Control, guys, stay tall. Knees out, up, knees out, down. This time, drop the elbows. I want 3 reps. Squeeze your elbows in 2 inches. Lift your knees off your elbows 2 inches. Next, try some ankle shifts. Squeeze tension in your shin and your hip flexor. Pull yourself over 1 foot. And now shift. Squeeze your opposite shin and hip flexor. Give me 3. hands come behind. Step that left foot under, back into combat stance, and take a second. Give me a big breath. Now, guys, if that's been a lot for you, this would be a good opportunity to get a quick round of hip flexion, tails, and rails like I just showed you. Tails, shove the heel down. Rails, try and drive into your chest. 10 seconds on each side. If not, we're gonna get back into the squat and do a second round of that, okay? Guys, I don't care what your squat looks like. My squat doesn't look great. Having said that, I am darn strong in the bottom of my squat. I can be there, I can shift my body weight, I can hinge my hips, I can move my toes, my ankles, my lower back. You need to be strong in whatever your squat looks like, okay? There's so much dogma out there over what a squat is. To me, we all have a squat, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. We do need to be in it pain-free. So we build strength in our squat, okay? Ran over second round, back in your squat. This time, so clasp the hands, gable grip, no thumbs. Knees out, stand up. Knees out, sit down. Slow and controlled 3 times. Shove the floor away, hold, pull the knees out and sit. Shove the floor, knees out and sit. This time, guys, 3 reps. I want you to actively puff your chest as tall as you can, and then actively pull your butt as low as you can. That's 1. Lift the chest as tall as possible, pull the butt as low as possible. Extend the T-spine, flex the hips. Extend the T-spine, flex the hips, hold, arms come in. 5 seconds, drive knees into elbows. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the knees wing slightly. Hold, pull the knees away as wide as they'll go. Hold there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Done in our squat, guys. If you didn't feel those hips work until now, good for you, but that should have got you going. So one last challenge, guys, before we finish with some good wrist work, which is another thing that people are asking me. You know, this needs analysis poll is great, but now we got a lot of work to get into a class. Sorry if it feels like we're jumping around a little bit, but I am trying to hit some weak points. So this, guys, as I said in the beginning, not that much shoulder work today. But I did want to sneak in 2 of my very, very favorite options. We do these out of kind of a modified child's pose. So I've been getting some questions about shoulder flexion and how can I work on shoulder flexion if no matter what my T-spine starts extending. I just feel like they're so connected. For me, guys, modified child's pose solves that issue. So let's show you. We're going to do some hover challenges in child's pose. Just 10 reps on each side. That's it. They're going to be hard. Good darn work for the shoulder. We did do a lot of thoracic extension earlier, guys. So that tension, that engagement you felt in your mid-back, we want that. That really aids shoulder flexion. So we want good T-spine extension. And then to resist that rib flare, we come into this modified child's pose. So the regression here, guys, is prone. So if this does not feel good in the knees, to lay yourself on down. But if you can't be here pain-free, guys, go ahead and just lay prone instead. If you're not sure, start flat. You can always progress. I'm sitting back on my hips. This arm, guys, I like to either go under my nose or out to the side, whichever one works for you. I'm going to start with the hand outside the yoga block, tennis ball in hand. Big breath in. Find tension in the core and glutes. Retract the scapula. Lift off. Hover the target. Sit down soft. Make sure, guys, neck stays relaxed here. Too easy, feel free to elevate. Getting 10 reps, guys. Exhale during the movement. Control that lowering phase. I really find tension to the opposite arm helps. Try and pop that tennis ball throughout the rep, guys. If the tennis ball explodes, you will win something. I don't know what it is yet, but tension. Crush that ball up and over. Guys, if you feel like your elbow is bending no matter what, just shift this a little wider Don't worry about that active adduction as much. Don't squeeze as tight to the ear. Last 3 reps. If you want to challenge yourself, go for it. So here we are divorcing the shoulder from the thoracic spine. No way to cheat with T-spine rotation or T-spine extension. The only compensation that could happen here, guys, is cervical extension or elbow flexion. So lock your elbow, don't let it bend. And then as you finish your 10th, if you sit up and you feel a bruise forming on your forehead, it shows you were just trying to extend your neck into the yoga block, okay? That one tends to be a bit self-limiting. Please don't give yourself a forehead bruise. Switching sides, guys. So for those of you who have a yoga practice, I know we've got a lot of you. If a handstand's a current goal, if you want better overhead position, if you're working on the rings, if you're working any kind of gymnastics bodyweight movements, if you're an Olympic lifter, a power lifter, you need overhead capabilities, guys. Child's pose, shoulder flexion hovers. Love these. Great, great option, guys. So come on down. As I like to complain about, my left shoulder is my bad shoulder, quote unquote. So you will be a little more regressed here, probably. Nice long spine, tension throughout glutes and core. Crush that tennis ball, clench that opposite fist, lift off, hover the target, sit down soft. Retract, lift off, hover, land soft. That's kind of the reminder, guys. Make sure the hips stay on the heels. If you need to prop up the heels, you can. Don't stiff arm that neck through the yoga block. And make sure the elbow stays straight. Nice and simple. Take your time. We're getting 10. Here's 4. 3 to 4 second rep, guys. Not too slow, but not too fast either. Take your time. Last few. Let's see if I've got it on the side. All right. Done our 10 final reps, guys. So apologies again, not that much shoulder work today. Plenty coming for you guys next week's rotation class. To finish up, I want to attack some wrist work. A lot of people talking about wrists. Wrists tend to be fairly simple as far as increasing range of motion. Try and see how much passive wrist extension you have. Just start shifting your weight forward, letting gravity do the work, and then when you start feeling the limitations, stop being in the forearm in the back and start being limited in the front, guys. That means you went too far. So that's kind of what you've got. Now, from there, you can back up slightly. And wrist extension, tails and rails is very simple. So back out of that pinch, turn the elbow pit slightly forward, gently start pressing all 10 fingers down. Should feel forearms engage. Start trying to press the forehand, so your knuckle pads, through the floor as if you were trying to do this. Build that tension up. Feel it expand all the way into the upper arms. 5, 4, 3, 2. Try and lift the fingertips off. Squeeze the forearms. Now you should feel here. Try and pull the fingertips off the ground. If you can't, rock back until the fingers clear the floor and hold there. And soft. Okay, so that's one option for wrist extension, tails and rails, nice and simple. Option 2, supinate. Turn the fingertips back towards you. Now, to find the passive stretch and find the end passive range, we shift our weight back here. Same idea, whenever you stop feeling a stretch and start feeling a pinch, you went too far. Back out of that position slightly, same drill. All 10 fingers start pressing down, trying to press through the forehand as if I was doing now this. Build that tension up, feel it spill into the upper arms. Hold there. 5, 4, 3, 2, rails effort. Try and lift fingertips off the floor. If they don't, clear the floor, rock your way forward until they do, and hold. 3, 2, 1, and relax. One nice breath. So wrist extension, tails and rails. For those of you who want hand balancing, pain in a push-up, pain in quadruped, tails and rails for wrist extension is what you need, okay? If, guys, you have a former injury or no matter what you do, you can't seem to work wrist extension without a pinch, wrist flexion, tails and rails might be for you. So the way I like to work these is here. On the back of the hands, we want to make sure the elbow pits are slightly forward. All 10 fingertips gently start pressing down as if you're now trying to do that. So driving down, 10 seconds. Keep it gentle. This can be intense, but you should feel the top of the forearm doing the work. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, try and pull fingers off the ground. If it's easy, guys, bring your weight back to make it harder. Pull those fingertips up and hold. Set down soft. Okay. So as we said in the beginning, or I'm sorry, earlier, when we do tails and rails, we should tie it in with cards. We should upload to the nervous system and teach the brain to feel that force throughout a controlled articular rotation. Basically get that motor control to work a bit more readily. All right, so right into it. 2 slow wrist cards. Nice and smooth. So what you would hopefully notice, if you would compare this to your wrist cards that you did this morning, after you do your tails and rails, you should notice you have more control through extension and flexion, okay? Now, if you repeat that series and you do some wrist extension, tails and rails daily, and you do some wrist cards daily, you will start seeing progress. Guys, the homework that I'm giving you is, we're trying to attack a lot of stuff in a short time period. 6 weeks isn't that long. So the homework I'm giving you tends to hit those big bang for your buck things. Internal and external rotation of the shoulder and hip are kind of those.